I'm Brandon Roberts. Welcome to the Pike County Report. With us today is Roy Sawyers, Project Administrator for the Mountain Water District, Grondel Potter, Project Manager for Utilities Management Group, and as always, Judge Wayne T. Rutherford. And Judge, tell us a little bit about what you've experienced, the evolution of the Mountain Water District since you've been around.
First, Pike TV, and when I first got the idea to bring a public television station to Pike County, one of the purposes of that was transparency of government and, of course, education of the people, and to let the people know what was going on in Pike County with the boards, the commissions, the county government, and people are do this. People, the taxpayers' money that's spent, and the services that we provide. And Pike County is not an easy place to govern. The largest county in the Commonwealth in land area. And we have a geographically challenging county, Brandon, because of our mountainous areas. We have 1,200 miles of roads and a population that runs around 70,000 thereabout as the years go by. So it is a challenging job to govern Pike County. We're going to be talking to the Mountain Water District, but in 1970 when I came into office, you only had one district in Pike County, and it was in bankruptcy. And that was the Water District of Marbone, which was an independent water district set up by the Public Service Commission in Pike County. And county government, knowing how important the water is, the most important commodity that we have. You have to have water in your daily life to survive, and you have to have good potable drinking water, sanitary drinking water, and you have to have a way to provide it. So starting in 1970, the Water District chairman at that time, when we put in the Mountain Water District, went before the Public Service Commission and started covering the county, attempting to cover the county and put a plan in to cover the county in water districts. We took over the Marbone Water District. It had not been completed. We filed a lawsuit against the contractor and bonding company. We've got that finally settled and completed the water district. And then we established the next water district was the Shelby Valley Water District. We established that with the assistance of the Public Service Commission. Then we went to Belfry and put in the Pond Creek Water District. Then we went into Peter Creek and we established the Peter Creek Water District. Leon Huffman became chairman of the board and was chairman of the board until his death, and gave the leadership to help bring potable water to the county. Then when Judge Patton was in office, Governor Patton, he brought all the water districts together, and you had the Mountain Water District system approved by the Kentucky Public Service Commission. Then we put a comprehensive plan together. At that time, the county did, along with the Water District Board, and they started putting a plan together to cover this county with water. I think that there was probably the first. We had 1,600, then we had 4,800, and then as Mountain Water come on board, and today I think it has 17,900. And I think it serves about 44,213 people. And we currently have somewhere in the high 90s of this mountainous area covered with water. Now, people can't believe that. When I go to the meetings and conferences downstate and tell people that we got Pike County, the largest county in land area, covered with water in the high 90%, and them knowing what a mountainous terrain that we had to provide water to our customers. The Mountain Water District had to provide the water to the customers. So it is Mountain Water District, and we're going to be talking to those who are in authority and operate this system on a daily basis. Will Brown, when I came into office this last time, almost going on 6 years, Brandon, when I came into office this time, there was a controversy in regard to the water district and the way it was set up financially. And as I appointed new board members over there in the physical court, approved those board members, we got a completely new board. A contract was already in place when I came in office with UMG to assist the Mountain Water District and help them provide services in the county. Now, the economic impact of the Mountain Water District providing the people with potable water, the impact to the economy of Pike County from the employees of the Water District and UMG employees and what they purchase from Pike County and so forth runs around $4 million per year. And that's a great infusion, fellas, into the economy of this county. And let me say this to these fellows before we get into a conversation with them, Brandon. We are flood prone. 2009 flood, 2010 flood, two back-to-back. Different floods. They wasn't river floods. They was from the sky. And if you remember in the 2010 flood, fellas, Horace's Creek completely washed out. Unbelievable what Mountain Water UMG did. Brandon, they had the water back on in how many days was it? It was maybe in 2 weeks.
The longest out of water was Horace's Creek due to the damage. But each day we worked with the county as they were working on the roads, putting it back together. We'd keep moving water up. I had Horace's Creek, I believe, out 7 days before we were back on.
You had everything washed out of the creek. I'm talking about everything washed out, all utilities. and they went in there and brought these people water. And I can remember, too, in the flood that even you all went down and assisted McGolphin County, and Judge Harden always tells me what he thinks of the Mountain Water District UMG because of what you did for them after the major flood and got their water back on in Sayursville after the flood. So not only did you get our people's water on, now we know that we have the problem of, and we'll discuss that a little bit, the number of tanks we got in the county and the lines and so forth, but let's get into a conversation on the you all are attempting to have the latest technology that's available in the world or the United States in this district, in this water district. Let me say this: there's not a more rural water district in the United States of America than this water district. It is unique in the fact of our geographic layout and the mountains and the number of roads we have. There are not any like it. One in Kentucky in Hardin County District, they have probably about a fourth the number of people they serve, and they're not geographically challenged by mountains, but they're the second in Kentucky in rural. So you imagine where we stand in this country. So the job that you and your employees do on a daily basis to keep the water on and to keep sanitary water coming into people's homes so that they can maintain good health habits and of course be safe and have confidence in this water system.
Hey, Roy, real quickly, if you don't mind, explain to us and the viewers what message you're trying to convey today, being here with us.
Well, it's an honor and privilege to be here today. We want to talk about the Mountain Water District and to communicate with our customers about their water system and the service we offer to them. Providing our customers with the highest quality service possible is our #1 priority, and we appreciate this opportunity to share information and communicate with them today on Pike TV. I believe this will be good for the education of our customers, good for the district, to be able to share information in an open forum, and good for the citizens of Pike County who want to keep up with the current projects and progress being made to bring potable water and sewer service to underserved areas of the county. So what we're going to discuss today, basically the judge has already spoke to you on the history of Mountain Water District. We'd like to talk about our website and other services offered by the district.
Well, I noticed I got on there, I was on the website earlier today, this morning, and it said the red scroll was on there, and it said there are currently no outages or water advisories, which is always a good thing. But of course, sometimes you can get on there and it says there are outages reported here, there are outages reported there, boil water advisory in effect for, and that's important for the customers. I think.
As far as the website goes, we offer several different things on there. We have our sewer tariffs, our water tariffs. You can go online and pay your bill. You can go on and look at your bill. There's several different things we can, as far as the website goes. On its website, you pay bill online, find resources about the district's water and sewer rates, all the contact information, current outages on the boil water advisories. Has the customer's bill of rights on there, confidence reports, just a wealth of different information on our website.
And that's mountainwaterdistrictky.com, if I'm not mistaken, isn't it?
Yes.
.org. Is it .com or .org?
It's .com.
Your all's board has also adopted a customer's bill of rights, also.
Mm-hmm. And that is also posted on the website, I do believe, and at the office if you'd like to come by and see what rights customers have. But talking about the technology, some of the other technologies beside the website, we do online billing. Also, you can pay by credit card over the phone now for convenience. Customers don't have to come in to pay their water bill. You can also still come in and there's information. We also have a sign-up sheet. If you want to have information mailed to your website or to your emailing address, we're trying to get a listing of emails, people's emails address where we can send them information at some point. We also have what we call an auto dialer, and when there's issues in the county, like the judge spoke, if there's flood situations going on, boil waters, or information we want to put out there, the auto dialer can dial each customer and notify them what's happening in the county besides the website. Now on the website, if we have power outages, flooding, the ice storm, those issues will be noted where we're experiencing trouble in the county at that time.
Well, talk about Roy and Grondel and Judge, all three of you, if you feel about the infrastructure, and the Judge touched on the topography of this county, and how sparsely populated it is. Like Grondel, you and I were talking the other day that there could be 10 miles between two houses.
It's difficult to maintain proper water quality when you don't have the turnover on the line, and that's why we do routine flushing and various other things with the EPA putting out their newest regulations to ensure consumer health. We have to do a lot of line maintenance, flushing, checking stations. I mean, and like the judge was speaking, Pike County is a unique area. Just for its geography, what we have to deal with, we do have a lot of infrastructure. There's, like I said, 108 tanks, roughly 37 pump stations at this time. Some we utilize as backups when we're having trouble in certain areas. I can switch water around. Hydraulically, it's very interesting to run this system. I have several other districts or municipalities throughout the state when we go to any training seminars. They're amazed at what it takes to move water in Pike County.
Well, speaking of that, Roy, talk about your treatment plant at Marbone.
Our water treatment plant at Marbone produces an average of 2.4 million gallons of water per day, system-wide. The district purchases some water from City of Pikeville and South Williamson.
So your Marbone plant, that would be, just figure it in my head, that'd be over 1 million gallons per year, a billion with a B, gallon per year that's produced. Go right ahead, Roy, on that.
Yeah, we produce.
Where you purchase the water.
We purchase water from City of Pikeville as needed, and so same as with South Williamson.
Now, we are connected to other counties.
Yes,
we
sir.
did that in past years as part of the comprehensive plan
Yes, sir.
of the Mountain Water District. And we're connected at Toller's Creek. Are we connected into Floyd County into that system?
The City of Pikeville is at that location, but we have the ability to trade water with the City of Pikeville to provide them. Also, here in just the last few years, we made a connection with Letcher County, Jenkins.
I was at that groundbreaking, if you remember, And in the case of emergency, because they have the lake up there, and if I remember, at times they have to run water from the other lake, which is over above Kona, and they run it out. If it's not in the wintertime, they run it outside the road and keep their pipes up there. But they won't have to be doing that in the future if that you all can provide them water.
Yeah. If they do have a situation, we can provide backup water to help them along. Mingo County, PSD, we sell them water also, and we sell Martin County water. So the district, besides serving itself, does assist our neighboring counties.
We wanted to build public housing in Pond Creek. The people would always say, well, everybody looks at us as the backside of the county, and we're really the front side. But the ARH hospital was getting their water from City of Williamson. So I went to Brooks Lawson, an attorney over there in Williamson, who was chairman of that water district, and said, Brooksy, if you'll put a T on that, we had no public water over there. That's one of the requirements to get federal money to build housing. So went over to Williamson, got permission, that water district. I said, put a T on it. We'll go down the Tug Fork and we'll hunt out of the floodplain. That's another one of the regulations, which is fine. And we'll find a place and we'll build housing. The housing's over there today. And of course, they're still providing that at the ARH and down to that housing and some other housing in South Williamson and Buzzkirk over there. But that's how important water is and public water is. It generates other things that can happen and to help solve your housing problem and to get assistance and to borrow money, to get grants. And it is, but you all have, gosh, 40 plus regulators.
Yeah,
people don't understand what you all have to go through to provide water in a mountainous county.
That's right. You go up a mountain, and when you pump the water to the top of the mountain, it's got to come back down the other side. And by the time the pressure gets so great, you have to reduce it to keep moving. And the district does have like 42 mainline regulators, and we take pressure somewhere in the neighborhood of 300 pounds per square inch, and we'll regulate them back down to usable pressure. And there's a lot of maintenance. And I don't know how people realize it, and you alluded to it. Pike County is large, 789 square miles. Sure. We roughly have, the district has 960 some miles of mainline water, not counting the service lines. So it's a lot to deal with, putting water to the top of the hill, taking it down and regulating it at pressure to be utilized by customers and move it around the county.
It's funny you say that, Grondel, because I was just reading on here, 966 miles of water mains, 189 miles of service connections. Now, to put that in perspective, just off the top of my head, it's 1,155 miles of line. Right. That's, I think, from Detroit to Miami, at least.
Sure.
But
folks,
a lot of lines.
As you travel around this country and you see, you can see the water tanks, and explain to them what gravity flow is. The reason they don't have the mountains, they don't have the problems, they don't have all of what we're talking about here today. All they got to do is get the water above the people they serve, and it's unbelievable when the pressure from gravity flow gets that down into a pipe that's coming into a business, commercial business, or a residence. Explain to them about gravity flow. And we don't have that luxury here. We got to do all the things we're talking about today.
Regulators.
Yeah, most of the other areas we go to, if you go, like say, Hardin County, they're comparable in size to Mountain. They have 10 tanks. So, in comparison in size and close to customer base, but when you put that much water into a tank and hydraulically taking it to another location, you have to regulate it, and nobody really deals with that on a basis as much we do. I mean, if the pressure were to get away, or that's why most of our regulators are redundant systems. So if one were to fail, the backup would fail. But we have had issues where, due to an accident, a vehicle may hit one of the regulators that you see in the county, and you put 300 pounds on the main line. I've seen fire hydrants that's locked on just be blown completely off. So we really have to watch our system due to pressure.
Hey, Roy, talk a little bit about the booster pumping stations, real quick, if you don't mind.
Because of the terrain we have, the mountainous terrain we have several booster pump stations. In order to be able to get it to the next location across the hill, as Grundle put, we've got 136 booster pump stations. And the way the mountainous terrain is, we have to have those to get those in other locations.
Unbelievable.
We have 136 booster pump stations. They range anywhere from pumping 10 gallons a minute up to 700 gallons per minute. They are duplex stations which contain 2 pumps in each station, providing one for a backup in case we have any issues.
So you all, Brandon, I think that you all sell water to Elkhorn City and I think Mingo County
yes,
too,
Mingo.
don't you?
Mm-hmm.
But give us a breakdown of what you sell to, I think it's about 6 million gallons on it to.
It's monthly to Elkhorn, I believe, is roughly that, anywhere from 150 to 250 gallons per day, depending on the fluctuations they need. And then Mingo and Martin County. Mingo County, they take roughly 100,000 a day in that location, and they were like one sector of their county they wanted water at, just like you wanted to do from Williamson. So that they asked to purchase off the district, and we made an agreement with them so they could get water to customers in an area that was underserved or not served by them.
And we're connected to Martin County in 2 places, I think,
yes,
aren't we?
yes, sir. Currently, Martin County has done some plant upgrades, and they're no longer purchasing as much as they did at one location. But we sell at another location roughly 30,000 a day time.
Yes, as Martin County is an as-needed basis, and even the city of Jenkins in emergencies.
That's what we were talking about.
And Martin
that
County
connection.
worked with you all and us to bring those people water on Big Branch.
Yes, sir, on the lower end.
Had no water for years, and they worked with us and with the Public Service Commission and provided those people in Pike County with water. And we're truly involved in what's called regionalism. And I get accused a lot not being for regional stuff, but folks, I'm elected County Judge Executive of Pike County, Kentucky, and that's #1, Pike County. But I believe in regionalism, and I believe in it just like Hal Rogers does. Told me one day, he said, I'm for anything that Congressman Whitfield can get from Paducah as long as we don't need it in my district, and I can't get it in my district, I'm for it going to Paducah. Well, that's how I am when it comes to regionalism, and some people don't understand that. They have other fish to fry, but I'm the chief executive of Pike County, Kentucky, and that's the way myself and the physical court attempted to operate county government. And we have a heck of a job, like you all, running this water district to govern a county the size of Pike County.
You know, we've talked about all these things, the stations, the tanks, all this stuff. The maintenance of this has to be just an overwhelming undertaking. Almost difficult to fathom, really, to think of the maintenance involved in this.
It's a daily thing. I have to commend Pike County and the powers that be during the time. I mean, there's some amazing numbers if you look at what happened in the course of about a 25-year period over at the district. I done some breakdown looking at it at one time. During a push in the early 80s to the early 90s, roughly through 25 years or so, that's when they made a massive push to get water out there. And they helped serve over 13 public schools through the Grapevine Project, the Blackberry Project, and two municipalities, in Jenkins, Elkhorn City, your industrial commercial users. You got the cookie factory, which we call it Kellogg's. I mean, there's just a lot of sites, Fish Trap Lake, that helped them get their campgrounds and things going.
Sure.
I mean, and the airport. I mean, you know, that was another push for industrial use for water to get it up there for commercial business and whatnot. Right. And during about a 20-25 year period, you can look, if you look at our records, there was a huge growth spurt.
Grundle, let's give our delegation in Frankfort some credit for that. All of those people from Herbie Deskins, Clayton Little, right on up, during that period of time. And the local leadership here, and they started taking off the top of coal severance tax about $6 or $7 or $8 million a year, and putting it in for water. Now, since we have the county covered 90-some% with water, let's talk about first and get people to understand about the fire hydrant. They think you all, and the Public Service Commission requires fire hydrants. Let me say this. I testified before Congress in Washington 2 times of trying to get the federal code changed and to require that fire hydrants be part of the mix. It is not part of the mix. You all are mandated by federal code and by the guidelines that the state has to set up that your duty is to provide people with potable water.
Yes, sir.
Now, they leave it up to the government body, and they are funds that we can apply for and get, and we do that. And you all, as we get funding, help you, assist you in getting funding, then you have line extensions. And let me say this, the guidelines are such, a good example. If you have a out-of-state holding company that owns probably 6, or say they have 2 miles with no houses on their property, then you go above there, you got 8 or 10 houses. Well, they require you to amortize your investment before they will loan you or grant you money. So then those people don't get served. When we say we're in the high 90s providing people with water today, that don't mean everybody in the head of these hollers has water.
Exactly right.
But we have a program separate that we get funding from to provide line extension. And hopefully we'll have more money coming for that in the future. We're going to talk later about Bad Fork and other places as we discuss this today.
You made a good point, Brandon. What I was trying to get at, there's a really big growth spurt. Unfortunately, and that's like the board now and Roy, and we've talked about this in some of our meetings, the district has grown and serving somewhere in the 96th percentile of the Pike County population in water between us, City of Elkhorn, City of Pikeville. We have built a large system, and the infrastructure needs attention now. We really need to look at maintaining what we have to keep it as reliable as we can.
And that's part of your plan.
Yes,
and
it
that's
is.
part of your funding that's available for you today.
That's a scenario we're putting into effect since Roy come to the district, and we've talked with the board. We're really getting into a big maintenance phase now, and a lot of people see some of our tanks are getting repainted. We're doing our repainting and maintenance on tank structures. Some of the people in the county may see those going in. And we'll be doing rehabilitation on lines. Some of the lines, and you spoke of Marbone area, are 40-plus years old. And they're like anything else. As you use them, they become weak due to outside factors too. People's impacted them. So we're getting into a really large maintenance phase, not to say that there will not be any line extensions, whereas working through the physical court. I know you have plans on how we can do that, and we talk about it all the time. We will grow some, but we've built a good house. It's time to take care of it.
Let's make sure people understand fire hydrants. Do you all install fire hydrants? Yes, you do. At the end of the line, as you said a while ago, to blow them out or to clean them out.
Flushing hydrants.
That is the only thing of the guidelines that you all can do on fire hydrants. You have no responsibility under the federal code or the guideline or state guideline to provide that. That falls to somebody else to do.
Mm-hmm. We, according to Mountain Water District's tariff, and just like you said, we are not a fire protection district. There's certain guidelines you have to follow federally to be able to do that, and the district is not laid out that way due to our geographical area, the way we are. We utilize flush hydrants. Now, does that mean the district will not allow a fire department to utilize those? No, that's not true. We do not penalize fire departments for utilizing water in emergency or training situations, but we're not a fire protection district.
Now, we've come a long way. We got this infrastructure built. We got the 90-some% of the high 90s of providing everybody water. Then this water district of ours, Brandon, became a sewer district.
In 2001.
In 2001, and started to provide services. I know that the first thing you did was took over the plant at Douglas. That's what was built back in the late 70s.
Yes, sir.
And you had to upgrade that plant. And you're still upgrading that plant, I think, today because of new technology. So we're going to talk about new technology. That you two fellows took a trip recently to Ohio, I believe it was, wasn't it? To
Rome, Ohio.
Yes.
Rome, Ohio, to look at some of the latest technologies that possibly could be used. And I know when the floods came, and I'm a member of the health board, and we had a great concern because the state had said they couldn't put the system back in the way they had them when they washed out on Harsage Creek. And what do? Then you all came with the recommendation of new technology, a fusion system. And tell us a little bit about the fusion system and how you locate it. Then the corporation that made them, I think, at no cost let you have two to collect the data for the state, because we had to get the Commissioner of Health to come up. You remember that?
Yes,
he
sir.
came up to the meeting of the Board of Health and said, now you've got us on hold up Harsage Creek. We can't put back the same systems we had in that got a permit from the health department to put in originally. Now you won't let us put them in. What are we going to do? And you all come up with this, and you got and collected the data. And today, we put the first fusion, the third.
The third in Pike
We put
County.
the third one in, the county did, over at the county garage at the daycare center, if I remember.
Yes, sir.
So tell us about that, the fusion system.
Well, there was some issues. We'd been looking for a long time. How could we serve Pike County with sewer? Unfortunately, sewer infrastructure is 3 to 4 times as costly as running water, just due to the nature. So we were looking for some alternatives on site, how to deal with sewer issues throughout Pike County. The health department had addressed their concerns at certain areas that are outlined. When will we get to them? And with the funding scenarios we've seen, it may be some time. So we started looking at scenarios that will be able to provide sewer service at individual locations. And the fusion system was one that I thought was one of the better concepts. There are several different animals out there. And I took it to my boss, and we talked about it. And UMG actually purchased those 2 test systems, and we put them in free of charge in conjunction with the district to be maintained. And we're currently still collecting data on them. And when we get on into our projects, I think Roy's got some info. He's been working well with it. And the Rome, Ohio trip, Roy, if you want to talk about that, we're looking at, like you said, upgrading our Douglas facility. The technology is always changing. EPA regulations on requirements for effluent discharge are always changing. They're getting tighter regulations all the time. So we're looking all the time what's the most cost-effective means or way to meet the criteria we have to. And we're actually looking at membrane technology at Douglas to help us along, and some upgrades at the Phelps wastewater treatment plant. But I think Roy can tell you.
I bet you $1 that the people watching this at Robinson Creek is saying, is the judge going to ask them about the smell? Well, I already have. And this membrane system is supposed to bring that
Hopefully,
way down to nil almost.
it's if you've been anywhere, Lexington, Louisville, at any site. I was in Lexington this past weekend. I can tell you where their lift stations or plants are also for wastewater. It's a constant struggle throughout any municipality.
It is, even at Freeburn over there.
But it's a nature of the beast. I hate to say it, but we are looking at alternatives. There are some new solutions, and hopefully with the upgrades we're proposing at Douglas, we're going to try to add some other technologies to try to take care of the odor issues.
Well, Roy, tell us about going to Rome.
It was a very interesting trip. We looked at 2 million gallon per day sewer treatment plant there, utilizing the membrane technology, and we toured their facility. It was an extremely nice facility the way it's laid out, and very impressive the way the system functions. The membrane technology basically sets up in a type of rack that sits in there to filter the system out. They don't use any type of disinfection, don't use any type of UV system, and the type of quality the water that's coming out of the effluent was totally clear. We looked at their well box coming out of their effluent. It was 12 foot deep. One of the boys throwed a dime in it and you could see it at the bottom of their tank. It was that impressive, almost clean enough to drink, coming out of their sewage treatment plant, and that's hard to believe, but it was clean.
Well, go ahead, Jeff.
Yes, it is. And, you know, gosh, the dog food that was been bought over the years to go in these old systems.
Yeah, you have to feed the microbes.
To get it start working, to keep the smell down, of course, and to enhance the working of the bacteria to break it down.
It was a very impressive system. They even had odor control also implemented in their facility.
But you know, when we went on cow pen and that system, remember that you started out with one type that you're going to get. Come to find out, due to the terrain, you couldn't do that system. And you went back to the grinder system, the little grinder system that had a motor. If I remember, the motor was about that long, the picture that I saw of it. It was the old Chicago system, came out of Chicago. And which means that you could put flexible pipe. And if you had a place that's geographically challenged to you, you could run your pipe around. And that's what happened to that system. Then I can remember by picking the newspaper up, and one of the coal companies over at Big Creek had been fined. And we contacted the attorneys for the coal company and said, you are trying to work your fine out if you're trying to negotiate out with them. Give us that money for our local sewer district. If you're going to require, you know, that's where what they did. Well, they killed the fish. And
it was some mitigation money.
It was mitigation funds. And believe it or not, the water district got it. But again, Pike County, being geographically challenging, could not put a typical sewer system in Big Creek. Had to think out of the box again. So they had to get busy, think out of the box. They put 80 what?
It's roughly 80, I believe.
About 80 individual systems, sewer systems, and with the leach systems, the same as meeting all requirements. And the water district maintains those.
Yes, sir.
Under contract with each property owner.
And I think that's getting very popular now as far as we were talking about infrastructure in today's age. Construction, to tie locations together with piping or lift stations. Each lift station you have electrical that's going to be tied into that. And we all know electricity is going up. I've had several other entities call the district from Paducah area, other ad districts, want to know how we're addressing these issues. Some is with the aerator type systems, some were on the on-site system, some were the conventional septic. And I think that's where we're going to look in the future in Pike County for septic. It's going to be a montage of different systems out there to try to keep it within the range that people can afford it. That's like a lot of the new technology we've looked at from the water and wastewater side, variable speed drives, trying to keep the electricity cost down to try to keep us as competitive in rates as we can provide to our customers.
How do we stand in competitiveness of rates?
If you look, I think you were at the latest Utility Management Institute class, and I went through the class a couple years ago. As far as standing on rate structure, water, and I believe sewer both, Pike County is along the mid to upper mid-range. We're not the highest.
Mid-range.
We're not the lowest. We fall somewhere in the middle on water and sewer.
So your board is concerned, just like the Pike County Physical Court, on what you, and the people who pay the bills of keeping it so that it can be affordable.
And that's what they're looking to the future. We know there's maintenance has to be done, and maintenance will affect the rates at some point. That's why we're looking at the best available technologies and the best scenarios to do our maintenance and our upgrading to make sure we can keep our costs down, the district, as low as they can for the customer.
Roy, tell us about how many customers, sewer customers, and how much water's treated in the county.
We have approximately 2,400 sewer customers. The district has 11 wastewater treatment plants, the largest of them being the Douglas wastewater treatment plant we've been discussing and the Phelps-Freeburn plant. There are 19 lift stations throughout the county with pumps ranging from 55 gallons a minute to 450 gallons per minute. We have 8 miles of gravity line and system ranging from 4-inch to 8-inch line and 75 miles of force main in the ground that utilizes grinder type systems. There are approximately 60 customers in the Big Creek area that the judge just spoke about that use conventional systems, small package treatment systems, or septic tank systems. The district treats approximately 10,500,000 gallons of sewer each month.
That's a lot for.
It's quite a bit.
Let's give the people an update, Brandon. We need for them to give the people an update on what's going on construction projects. And gosh, we got one that we got good news on, and you all did, and shared it with us, and that's on Bad Fork up Marbone, which we have that problem where you have ownership of a land company owns the first 2 or 3 miles, or mile and a half or 2 miles, and then above there you have residents. Explain that. And that was AML. Mm-hmm. And I can recall when your all's engineer, our engineer at the time, we made 2 trips to Frankfurt to talk with AML and talk with the leadership of AML and impress on them what this situation was at Bad Fork. At the same time, to talk about water on top of the mountain up Grapevine on the same trip. But tell us about Bad Fork and finally the good news that you got.
The great news we got on Bad Fork and Dameron Ratliff Road, which is located on Harless Creek, and Bad Fork's on Marrowbone. The AML go ahead and fund the project. They went ahead and did their studies and continued with the project and going to fund the project and allow us to serve 29 potential customers for both areas.
And we're still hauling water. When I say we pay the fire departments and we pay you all for the water and haul it into these people so they'll have potable water to drink.
We've had several customers call in that area.
Yeah, we're hauling water still into Bad Fork and Marbone and also top of the mountain over there.
Well, the next project on here we got to look at is Ridgeline Road, Johnican Water Project, and I believe that's a 3-phase project, isn't it?
Yes.
Well, we have, of course, we put in for severance tax money. Yes. Held a meeting and held meeting after meeting, and with our legislative delegation, and with the magistrate in that district up there, Magistrate Murphy, to provide these people water. That is an area we got a Hurricane Creek.
Yes.
We got an AML. You all got an AML project approved, funded, and that's completed. And you went online this year, if I'm correct. When did you go online on?
About this time last year.
I guess last year, getting ready for Christmas. Did we say we was going to get them online for Christmas? Would be a present for them.
We really tried to accommodate him. Yeah.
But the AML project on Ridgeline Road, and I know that we had a coal company involved in that, a coal company, and we thought we had maybe 250,000 buttonhole. An attorney for the coal company said that is designated somewhere else. So then we had to go back, and you all have again the comprehensive plan in regard to the county system. That comprehensive plan called for another large tank to be constructed up on top of the mountain. Now the thing that we get calls on you too now is there are 6 or 8 people on top of the mountain under this phase, which I call phase 2 because we got Hurricane Creek and now we got it. Now phase 3 would be Lower Pompey and serve those other people up on top of the mountain, which is 6 or 8 families. How many are there up there?
Yeah.
And it's just not possible to do it in this contract. And you all give us what's going on with your Ridgeline Road project.
Right.
First of all, we'd like to thank Fiscal Court for ranking and prioritizing that project pretty quickly with the coal severance funding. We're glad to get this project, get it started, get it rolling. We've already advertised.
Let me tell you, you're lucky. Magistrate Murphy said I'm not voting for anything for you fellows, our port or nothing else, till you agree to put the money in for those people who haven't had water for all these years. And some people don't have water at all. And he stuck to his gun. And bless his heart, we drew out of what we draw for the severance tax project, as we do every year. He drew number 2. So you all got the funding to do that project. Go right ahead.
Well, the community can thank Mr. Murphy. This project is phase 2 of the project. Like you said, the hurricane was funded by AML, and the project's complete and online. Jonica in this area will serve approximately 32 customers. We have the funding available to do basically mainline Jonica and maybe start at the foot of the hill there where the other intersection starts up Ridgeline Road. We don't have the funding quite to get started up through there like we want. It'll be in the 3rd phase as you was talking about. It'll be impacted, like I said, 32 customers. And we have bidded the project act, and we do have a contractor as our parent low bidder will be H2O Construction on the project.
Let's talk about, we know Pond, they're getting a new bridge. ARC finally went along with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet. Bridge is under construction. They have a relocation project. And then I know that Rondo and you all, and bless his heart, Jimmy Dale Anderson, the people that live down right-handed, they only authorized to go up the holler, and they was left without water. But that's going to be taken care of, so these people will know that.
That's going to give us the ability. During the relocation project, there was a phase 1. We had to move our main line out of the way for the bridge and road relocation. So when we got over there, now we can leave a sector of that live after we put the main line back. So that's going to give us an avenue, the district, to be able to go ahead and start serving the people right-handed.
So
down that road.
In the future, you're going to have water down your street.
That's going to give us the ability to go ahead and go that way. The whole trick to it was we got the money a couple year ago or 3 year ago to do Pond, the holler, like the judge said, of drafting. It did not leave any avenues for going right-handed at the railroad track because that was an AML project. They pay only for what they deem within their criteria, their parameters. And then we looked at a year or two later about going down the road, and the issue we had there was it's on railroad right-of-way, and it would be highly cost prohibitive. They want quite a bit for their easement acquisition, and it would have to be ductile arm. But now the way we're on the riverbank with the main line, we could get the easements and come off the bat to go ahead and finish that out, I believe.
We've used the word today, mediation. And you all have 2 mediation projects, I think, over on Johns Creek. One is near the Johns Creek Fire Station. The other is up Meat House Fork or Kemper's.
At the mouth of the hollow there. That's the FEMA mitigation projects.
Correct.
There was some money from the flooding left over. FEMA come to us and asked how many times we've been impacted at a couple of the lift pump stations there. And we've filed a mitigation profile with those for 2 pump stations. And we've currently, I think, passed their 3rd hoop in the series.
Well, you all cleaned out that one at Johns Creek every time you have the waters up.
Right. So we're it's in the floodplain. We're trying to get the money to do that. So far, we've met their criteria, but with any federal project, you have several hoops to jump through. But we're still in that process.
There's 2 I see
projects, Brandon. Go over that with them.
Well, I see that you got 2 upgrades going, Douglas and Phelps Freeburn. You want to talk a little bit about those a little bit more?
Let's talk about why we're doing this, folks. Let's talk about Pond Creek, and we know the interest that Magistrate Harris has in regard to that plaint. Now, I don't know, you all, how much severance tax money that I know that I requested on behalf of Magistrate Harris and the physical court for funding, and I know that, give the cost of the total plain over there and where it would serve, and talk to us about the location. Looks like can change, and we'll not have to have the amount of property that we had to have before. So let's make sure today that we give a complete update in regard to the Belfry Pond Creek project.
In the beginning, I don't know the total scenario on the cost for the project, what they asked in the beginning for the coal severance funding.
It's about 4.6 million, Grondo.
Yes, it was between 4.5 and 5 million for that whole area.
For the whole area.
Yeah. Right, and I think we ended up with roughly 2.5.
It was 2.8.
We have 2.8 million. in severance tax set aside for that project, including the money that was put in there this past regular session of General Assembly from Senator Jones and the state representative.
And the district actually put this out to bid a couple years ago for the line and the plant. They both come in over budget, or at so high a budget it wouldn't be viable to operate the plant after it was built. So that's why the district's been looking for other funding sources, of which they just got a little bit more. Correct. To be able to do this. And then Roy had a good idea after we got into this with the new technology. It will allow us maybe to have a smaller footprint so we can look at different properties.
Exploring other avenues or sites that are smaller, wouldn't have to spend as much money for the property involved.
Yeah, and didn't you guys say in the one meeting we had that the plant has to be a certain amount of feet away from the nearest house?
Yes.
Yeah, there's criteria from the Division of Water.
There are tough guidelines in regard to that by the state. But you intend to phase this project now. That's your plans?
Yes.
And to go ahead and with the money you got now, you intend to phase the project. Is that what your engineers are looking at today?
I think our intentions are right now to try to utilize the money as best we can as far as the plant's concerned. But to have enough funding to get the customers and the plant, we need additional funding.
Well, I believe the Majestic Sewer Project underway?
The Majestic Sewer Project, we have already bid or did RFQ and chose our engineer for the project, which is Vaughn and Melton. And
it closes out in the this year, don't it? Does that system close out? You complete the system by then? Is that the system? And
Majestic Alternative Sewer Project is one of the projects we discussed using multiple different types of systems on site.
Okay.
This is an area again where we have such terrain and topography issues that we may have to look at on-site systems because of footprints. We have a lot of straight pipes in the area over there, and what we're looking at is different types of on-site treatment systems, or even cluster systems. That's the reason why we did an RFQ and have an engineer get involved in the project.
what system over there are y'all getting ready to close out? That's Smith Fork?
Yes, Smith Fork. The Smith Fork extension is wrapping up. Yes.
Yeah, that one on Smith Fork is closing up. But the Majestic project, we're looking at small footprints because the funding's not available for us to do conventional, all the way from the nearest treatment plant.
And we've had this Henry Clay sewer project hanging out there for some time. It is a different type of funding, different type of agency. Would you give us an update in regard to the Henry Clay sewer project? We have moved maybe one or two houses from that area, blighted houses, and probably got two more, haven't we, Brandon?
On the drawing board, yeah.
Now, initially, that project, Judge, you're right, is different funding. Army Corps engineer had some, I think, 531 money, and Hal Rogers, 531 money, the congressman. So they kicked together to get a little pot of money, not for construction. They were looking for innovative technological design, something outside the box for, and that's this process of trying to find what would work in Pike County actually started several years ago. And this is one of the projects where the Army Corps said, well, we're going to give you some money for design, to try to design an innovative project in this location.
But they didn't provide you any money for funding.
No construction money, only design money. And we finally got the design concept done, and it has been submitted to Division of Water. So we're going to see where it goes through that process. So Roy is actually working with the board now to try to find us some construction money to maybe implement the plan, to serve those people right there at the Henry Clay of Marbone area, down to the mouth of Poor Bottom and the Poor Bottom.
Now, we've talked about studies. One of the most important studies that we do is the 201 study, and Brandon, you and I have talked about it before we left off.
That's right.
And we looked at your map over on the wall, and your local engineer, which is Summit, they're doing a complete study on 201 is completed, and hopefully we can get a map so the people can look at what's been completed during this show we're on here, this program we're on here today, and the people can look at that map. But tell us about the 201 study. That's the beginning thing you have to do to get the sewer service and get funding, either borrow money. And people need to understand in the United States, how you build water districts is you build your water on borrowed money and grant money. You borrowed money, you have to amortize your investment. And they didn't amortize their investment, and we got in trouble. The water district got in a little financial trouble over it, and we had to go ahead and get that finished up, close it out, and so that we could make and apply for other things with the money from that federal agency. And I know that tell us about the 201 study especially.
Well, actually, you have several 201s going on, and right now is a turnover year. Every 10 years they have to be reviewed. And we have one in the Pond Creek area, we have one in the Marbone area going on, and we have one in the Shelby Valley area going on. So all our 201 facilities, and basically it's an overview the state wants from each district to say where are you at in your plans of sewer growth or water growth, and where do you intend to go, what's the next locations. And so they get an overall picture, so when you apply for funding, they can see if you're following your master plan. It's basically the master plan for the district.
Under your 201 study, was the decision ever made in serving Marbone and the new site at Wolf Pit, the 65 or 70 acres, whether or not you serve it from the Furrows Creek plant below Elkhorn City, or whether or not you have a plant at the mouth of Marbone? Was that ever been resolved through your engineer?
I think the engineer is still looking.
Still looking at that.
Still looking. We had an update with them a month or so ago, looking at some of the ideas they had, and we should be finalizing that with Summit soon.
Judge, I believe before we close out here, because we could probably sit here 3 or 4 more hours and go over this stuff. We need to get out the contact information for Mountain Water District, and website I've already mentioned, of course, is mountainwaterdistrictky.com. And Roy, you want to give the rest, or do you want me or Judge to do it?
Judge do it, it's fine.
Give them out. You can contact them at 631-9162 or 606, of course, 353-8190. Again, 456-8170. And that's after hours emergency. This is important. Write it down. 754-4218. And of course, they're located at 6332 Zebulon Highway. And their office hours are Friday 8 p.m. to 4:30. And when does your board meet?
Last Wednesday of every month at 10 o'clock.
Last Wednesday of every month. Brandon, would you give those members of that board? They are different sections of the county. Go right ahead.
The chair is Rhonda James, and John Collins is the vice chair. Mm-hmm. Our friend Nancy Casey is the secretary. Kelsey Friend III is the treasurer, and Prentice Adkins is the 5th member of the board.
So that is the makeup of the board, and go right ahead.
Also, if you want to contact Mountain Water through email, it's mwd_customer service@umgllc.net. And I've used every one of these at the after hours one, especially Grondel, as you and I both know. But
and I know that myself and the members of physical court, you think sometimes we give you a hard time, but what a job you all do, and we do it out of concern. And I know that you all are working and have the same goals we have, as to provide water and sewer to every resident in this county at an affordable rate.
Thank you guys for joining us. And on behalf of Judge Grondel and Roy, I'm Brandon Roberts. Thanks for watching the Pike County Report.